Okay, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Hemendra Mathur from ThinkAg, welcoming all of you, all the panelists and participants to this AgLab on drones. I think some of you may remember we did an ag clinic on drones about a month back, focusing on drone applications in agrochemical spray. And we saw a massive response to that event. So we decided that we should follow it up with another episode. And that's why we have put together this AgLab. In the last lab, we had the participation from policymakers, industry, startups, FPOs. So what we thought in this time that we will give stage to a few drone startups who have done some work in agriculture. It could be agrochemical spray, it could be data collection, it could be crop health monitoring or any other application. And let them present their solution to the industry. So we invited a lot of industry players today for this event. And I can say probably top 30 companies from agri-input sides have a representation today on this call. So we are very overwhelmed with the kind of interest that we have seen for this event. And the whole idea is to take this solution to farmers, right? So with that objective, we thought that let's build this engagement and give a stage to drone startups. This is just the second episode. So any drone startup listening to this webinar, you are most welcome to connect with us, and we can also give you a platform when we do a next event. I would also like to thank the CropLife team, Asitawa and Joydeep, who have been working very hard with us in building this drone series. They have done a lot of work in this space already, and I think without their participation and guidance, we wouldn't have reached here. And of course, thanks to my colleague Abhijit, whom you may know. I think he's also worked very hard in putting this event together. So with that, I welcome you all once again, and I look forward to very, very engaging discussion. You may have a lot of questions, suggestions. Please use chat box or Q&A box to ask you questions. And with that, I would like to hand it over to my colleague Asitawa to anchor the event. Over to you, Asitawa.
Thank you, Hemendra. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me clearly, all of you. You can hear me well?
We can hear you, but not very well. If you can come closer to mic, probably it will be better.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I just checked it a while back. Abhijit said I'm fine. So I hope you can hear me well. Thank you, Hemendra, for the introduction. And I'm very delighted. And I must say, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, because we have got over almost close to 400 registrations from across the world, very well represented by the agrochemical industry, the fertilizer industry, and startup segment, and other sectors of agriculture ecosystem. I think currently I can see over 150 people who are there, and I'm sure a few more will join. We also have Madam Somita Biswas, the Joint Secretary, Mechanization and Technology in the Ministry of Agriculture. I think she will join shortly. There was something must have come up in the last moment. She was supposed to join, so whenever she joins, we will give her 15 minutes. But in the interest of time, we will move forward. So for those of you who may not know, although it may be a minority, we are delighted to do this with ThinkAg. CropLife is a leading association, is the largest and leading association of agrochemical companies with over 70% market share that our members have. We are also very committed to the faster adoption and favorable ecosystem for drones application in agriculture, particularly for agrochemical spraying. We were part of the expert committee constituted by Department of Agriculture for development of SOP and guidelines for drone application in crop protection and soil nutrient. And as Hemendra mentioned, we did a first joint workshop with all stakeholders involvement on 9th of March. And today's objective is essentially connecting innovators with corporates for drone application in agriculture and crop protection. The purpose is to offer a very focused and neutral platform for partnership and collaboration between these two segments, startups on one side and corporates on the other side. For both, as I said, agrochemical particularly, but also agriculture, other agricultural input as well. It is a knowledge sharing platform, and we as organizers, both CropLife and ThinkAg, will remain completely neutral and impartial. We have no role to play in the commercial negotiation between the startup and the corporate. That should happen separately. But we want to learn and get ourselves enriched from the 6 exciting startups which are there today, which are either or both manufacturers of drones or service providers for drones as a service, to share their on-the-ground experience, learning, and use cases, which is going to be much more interesting. And as we know, the opportunity is huge, but there are challenges and learning also to be overcome. And we believe that collaboration between the two stakeholders and other stakeholders is extremely critical to overcome those challenges and take advantage of the opportunities. So I now have a few set of instructions for the 6 startups who I'm going to call one by one. First of all, each of them will have 10 minutes to make their presentation. We are sticklers of time. We want to begin and conclude our workshop in time. So it's very important that you stick to the time, please, and I will ensure that I will remind you if the time is being overshot. After the 10 minutes, we will have 5 minutes for maybe 2 questions, ideally from the audience or from the other speakers in this room. And then if there are other additional questions which we do not have time in this 15 minutes, we'll keep them for, after all the 6 presentations are over. If we have time, we can take them up. And my request, other than to the presenters, other than sticking to time, is that you do give a brief introduction of the companies, but most importantly, focus on your product and service offering in agriculture and specific to crop protection spraying, your focus on crops and geographies, the USPs, if you have any unique selling proposition or something which make you distinctive from others, do talk about it. Do share relevant use cases and experience that you have learned through demonstrations, pilots, trials, etc., etc., and your engagement models for crop protection spraying and other agriculture applications that you can offer to the agri input companies that are there today. And lastly, leave your contact details either in the presentation or in the chat box after your session is over, so that interested parties can directly contact you, as I said, for business discussions. So I hope the instruction is quite clear. With that, I will call one by one each of the presenters. So my first invited presenter is Marut Drones, which is a manufacturer of drones. It is quite strong in South India, particularly in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. It is working with the Telangana State Aviation Academy and the NIPHM, the National Institute of Plant Health Management, to set up their drone academy for training pilots and drone operators. The government of Telangana has used Marut Drones seed copter for afforestation and seed planting, which is also interesting. And lastly, Swiggy has selected Marut as one of the parties to work for their grocery delivery pilot project. So may I invite Prem Kumar Vislawat, founder and chief innovator for Marut Drones. You have 10 minutes, Prem. Over to you. Either you or the presentation that you have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm just sharing my screen. Just if you can confirm whether you can see my screen. Okay, you can able to see my screen, sir?
Yes, we can.
Yes. So thank you, sir, for the introduction and everything. We as a company, Marut Drones, are there from last 5 years in the space, and the brand in agri space is AgriCopter, and we are predominantly known domestically and internationally for the work what we did, and we are the Forbes in 30 under 30, and we've been recognized locally and internationally for the work. This gives us this just overview of the work what we did in India, and where we made India proud in use cases with the drone-based use cases. We were the people to make sure bring the public health space, the malaria, dengue. So where from 20,000 dengue cases we brought to less than 400 consistently in 3 years. And in agriculture, we the company who worked with more than 30 plus input companies and worked year long for 220 days from 2018 onwards. We've been working it for the R&D trials, their label tests, and we company have worked with the PJTSU from 2018 onwards on creating the SOPs on crop-based SOPs on the more of a droplet size, swat weight, or when to do, and what is the impact on flora, fauna, and everything. And as you said, Shade sir, like first the company do to the BVLS longest delivery for 42 kilometers, and lastly, reforestation. Afforestation is very near to our heart, and we've been working it from 2015. Last year we completed 50 lakh plantation. This year we are targeting for a 1 crore plantation in 7 states, sir. So when it comes to the agriculture, sir, is on ground the reality, the farmer and the agriculture space is we don't have the technologies aligned to get the farm boundaries to the lot of the more of a technology point of view or adoption point of view in agriculture space. The tech aspect has been not picked up. What we see in internet in agri-tech space is not the reality on ground. What does a farmer does is whenever there is a pest or whenever there is a change in the crop, he goes to the nearest farmer or neighbor farmer or to the pesticide shop, and he checks what chemicals we use, and he just goes to manual spraying. The popular use case is if you type in Google about the cancer trend, you'll understand the reality of the farmers there. That like they're prone to cancer, TB, and lot of health hazards and lack of manpower. All this have become favorable for the drone industry. So, but like everybody, we do not wanted to push the drones into farmers without knowing the actuals. Are we really helping the farmers using drones? Because traditionally they spray 50 liters, 60 liters, or 100 liters per acre. But with the drones, 8 to 10 liters, is it enough? Was a question mark for us. When we are spraying from in air, is it like are we doing any environmental problems? Is there any drift, or is there any flora fauna impact? All this we wanted to study, and we wanted to sure before pushing the technology. That's where from 2018 onwards we worked on 7 different crops and worked closely with the scientists of the universities, and also worked with the farmer community, and we gave out the SOPs and which are in public domain to the CIB or to ICAR at present. So all the work what we have is divided into 3 aspects, sir, where the automation aspects to simplify ease the farmer based on the hardware and the technology, and the more of the intelligence aspect. I take the intelligence aspect like how we take care of human body, sir. Whenever there's a problem, we go to a doctor, ask for specific medicine or specific kind of a intervention to him to give the thing. We don't go to the RMP doctor and ask him to do whatever he has, right? Similarly, I see a crop. Presently, we are doing the entire crop, the spray or intervention, where ultimately the thought is to do the variable spray. Where exactly the stress level, where exactly the pest, we want the entire the drone activity to be done on targeted localized spray, and to scale because agriculture is a volume. To scale entire the country, the work what we do, we are coming up with the technology platform and everything. Traditionally the GIS space is there, like NDVIS, all these are we were getting at the block level kind of a data. That's where with the drones, with the technology like AI technology, we could able to do quantify at plant level and phenotypic level kind of a data points what we could do. So with the algorithms what we are writing it, we could able to tell the plant count, plant height, stress level in the crop. So like we were using drones for the agriculture spraying, we are using drones for getting this plant count, plant height. We're working closely with ICRISAT from last 3 years to write the algorithms, annotations, where scientists are outside country in Brazil and France. With the data, we're doing annotations, and we have successfully able to create a crop-wise SOPs on every stage of the crop cycle. These are the few case studies what we worked, sir. Like I was explaining about the SOPs on spraying. We did on 7 different crops in 7 different places, where NABARD funded us this. Next, this was the thing, sir, is ki in a 90 days or 120 days of a crop cycle, when to spray, what height to be sprayed, and like which nozzle to use, because not everybody talks about, like everybody uses a standard nozzle and says they can spray to any crop. So we went into extensive, like what are different kind of nozzles, what are different kind of heights. In the left side, if you could see, these are water sensitive papers which are kept in the crop at different heights on a different age of the days, and we collected all this data to generate the scientific data, so that the scientists and the more of a CIB board or the ICR pushes the technology to the farmer, and we have very encouraging results which we seen in last 3 years with them. And the popular case study in the country is the IFCO case study of nano urea. We did it more than multiple states, the IFCO trials, and we could able to give that data points about to help the IFCO. This is one of the case study. This is a unique case study for the country itself, where there is a phenotypic research. With Increside, we work on a phenotypic level. At the plant level itself, we could able to tell the stress level or biotic, abiotic, or disease level kind of a data, where you can see the few of the slides which are going to take you through. Is we could do the annotations, write the algorithms at a thing, and we could able to give them this all traits, mechanical or more of premium traits and everything, so that they could able to help the breeders, which are the remotely, and all this platform is built in last 3 years. So what we could do at every stage of the crop, from sowing to harvest, we were using the drone imagery, and we could able to help the breeders, help the farmers. We could, with the data which we were creating it. So these are the few things to tell us, like how we were estimating the yield based on the algorithms what we did. So what we did is, crop wise, we could able to create a calendar in like entire, like from first week to 9th week, what stage, what sort of a traits we could do. And this to give you on the left side the different traits and the where what stage we have used. So for multiple crops, we have created such SOPs, and we the platform and everything. So after doing the spraying, after doing the crop analytics, then we started working with the state governments to understand the amount of yield and varietal identification, the drones which we built. So because in the month of September, October, the satellite data is very difficult for the state governments to come up for the MSP. So we have used the drones, and this was a special project with World Economic Forum to understand how drones can be used for the defining the MSP. So we could able to do the entire villages, 3 villages, and we could able to tell the different variety crops. In the crop itself, different variety of the rice, and we increased the accuracy from 64% to more than 89% using drones here. So over the last 5 years, we could able to work in multiple states, and more than 1 lakh acres we have worked. And the key part was the partnerships, working with the corporates and universities. So few of the farmer trials we were doing, awareness we were doing it every year, almost more than like 30 to 40 different locations we do. And we've been working closely with the research community and the more of input companies and more of the farmer FPOs, majorly to understand every cycle how drones can be used. And these are the few focus areas we've been working at present, where for next 1-2 years, we want our drones to be flying and used. These are few customers which we have worked over the time. So just I wanted to, I've finished my presentation. I can take my Q&A so that like I can answer.
Thank you very much, Prem, for your presentation, and also sticking to the time precisely. So any question that anybody has posted? Let me see. There was one question from Shivar, who's saying that what is the proper height of drone to cover uniform spray coverage with considering a top, middle, and bottom crop canopy? Essentially, this question is what is the proper height for uniform spray?
So, based on age of the crop, sir, and the type of the crop, the height varies, sir, what I could say. In agriculture, one of the things is also the SOP is so critical, and it is a Bible for us to follow it, sir, because the SOPs are released. In SOPs, also very clearly written that based on like if it is 15th day, 30th day, because height is not constant for thing. So based on the different the age of the crop cycle, the height varies. And we have a lot of SOPs for crop wise, which is in public domain. I think I can help you out if you reach out in person to me.
Thank you. And can I request everybody to put the questions in Q&A? Some people are putting the questions in chat. It's difficult for me to look at both chat and Q&A. Please put the questions in the Q&A. One more question from EVS Prakash Rao is that how do you reach spray below the leaf surface? So how do you really reach to cater to the lower surface of the leaves?
So presently, the drones can do the over the leaf, sir. Below the leaf and under the leaf, the unmanned ground vehicles, sir. Those can be do the effectively. So presently, we are doing for outdoor crops where we have worked on with the drones are effective on the 9 crops what we worked on, sir.
Okay, thank you. So any other burning question, Hemendra? I believe Madam Biswas has joined, so I will welcome her. But any other last question from your side? We can keep the other questions for later, as we have said.
Yeah, I think we can carry on with the next presentation. Madam has joined, we can ask her to.
Sure. There was one more interesting question from somebody on the average costs. So that would be my last question to you, Prem. Any experience on the cost per hectare, cost per acre?
So generally, the cost depends upon the crops, sir. Generally, it starts from 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees based on geography, sir. So if it is a paddy, average I've seen 500 rupees per acre. If it is a sugar cane, and if it is the tall crops or high paying crops, the cost is going from 750 rupees to 1,000 rupees per acre. But generally, I've seen it starts from the minimum 500 rupees per acre.
Very good. Thank you, Prem. Thank you for your time and sorry, nice presentation. So I'm very delighted to have Mrs. Shomita Biswas, Joint Secretary, Department of Agriculture and Cooperation and Farmer Welfare. Madam, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, Asitawa. Thanks.
Thank you, madam, for joining us. So I will just briefly introduce you and then I'll open the floor for you. First of all, we started about half an hour ago. So as you recall, madam, the purpose of today's webinar, which ThinkAg and CropLife is jointly organizing, is to introduce 6 startups. Some of them are manufacturers of drones, some of them are service providers for drones, some of them are both manufacturer and service providers. So these 6 startups, we will introduce today themselves to corporates, particularly agrochemical companies and other agriculture input companies, with their ground level experience, learning, and whatever they are doing, so that both sides can know each other a little better, and then they can talk to each other and take up projects which will be in the benefit of farmers. So you just heard one presentation, there'll be 5 more remaining, and if you have the time, madam, we'll be most delighted to have you throughout the next 1.5 hours. So just for introduction purpose, I'm very delighted and honored, both ThinkAg and CropLife are delighted and honored to invite Madam Shomita Biswas, who's Indian Forest Services IFS 1988 officer, currently Joint Secretary, Agriculture Mechanization and Technology in the Department of Agriculture and Cooperation and Farmer Welfare. And she took up this position, if I remember correctly, about 2 years back. And in 2 years, we have seen phenomenal progress in the drone ecosystem in India. for the agriculture application, Kisan drones, as we call them. From zero, we have today a very progressive and pragmatic SOP guideline. Many companies have come forward applying for their product. Many drone startups are doing a lot of active engagement in different parts of the country with different crops. Various other things have happened. The submission on agriculture mechanization, SMAM, through which subsidies are given to machinery manufacturers, have been extended to drones, because of which many stakeholders, whether it is FPOs, startups, individual farmers, custom hiring centers, they are all, have access to get drones and apply them in the farmer's field. So, Madam, most of the credit for all this progress goes to you, and we are delighted to have you. We would like to hear your perspective today on drones, and particularly keeping in mind the objective of today's session, which is to bring the stakeholders together. So the next 15 minutes is open to you, Madam. Thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Asitawa, and thank you, Think and Crop Life, for having invited me on this platform, which is basically is a discussion, deliberations that are going to happen on different startups that are there in drone space, in terms of manufacturing, the startups who are engaged in manufacturing of drones, and startups that are providing agri-drone services. So that's a wonderful opportunity to interact with both the segments of drones and the other stakeholders. And ideally, I would like to continue to sit through the entire session, because I also want to learn what all initiatives are happening in the field, in different kinds of services that startups are providing, different kinds of drones that are slowly developing their technology, and that I really want to understand. So I would see how long can I sit. But just to, as my opening remarks, though the session has already begun, but however, only a couple of points I would like to make. That yes, as Asitawa has mentioned, that we have had an impressive journey so far as use of drones in agriculture is concerned, right from liberalization of drone rules, release of standard operating protocols for spraying of pesticides and nutrients, and then initiation of PLI scheme, and then it also followed up with the relaxation of period of data generation of approximately more than 400 formulations of pesticide, insecticides that also include the biological botanicals. So we are really making a very impressive move as far as drone in agriculture is concerned. As he has already mentioned that we already have included drone as one of the machineries is in our submission of mechanization scheme. So therefore, and after that also within the scheme itself, we kept on adding more features to popularize drone and to make sure that as far as agriculture policies are concerned, it is totally very forward-looking interventions have been introduced in the present scheme, in terms of when we allowed all state agriculture universities, FMTTIs, then all ICR institutes to have 100% grant from Government of India for drones for demonstration purposes. That's a it was very good move. Then we opened it up for the other organizations also. Earlier, it was restricted to state agriculture universities, ICR institutes, and our own institutes, FMTTIs. Then we further opened it up for other institutes of state that are engaged in agriculture sector. So now drones are also available to them if they want to demonstrate the drone application in agriculture in the field level. Say they can also come up with the proposals. Then we liberalized in our terms of schemes. Earlier, drones were meant for the custom hiring centers or high-tech centers. Then the demand came. Why not? In the villages also there are farmers who are youth who are they are educated also. Why not to extend this to individual farmer also? So that also we have added in our schematic guideline. So it is completely opened up for the use of drones in agriculture. And now, as I always say that it is the time to make drones accessible to farmers. So where the startups like yours, I mean, there are 6 of them today, we are going to present their initiatives that they are having. So there are many more. As I know, there are 200 plus such startups which are either engaged in manufacturing of drones or providing services through drones. So all these startups are going to play a pivotal role in use of drones in agriculture. And so first thing I would request all these manufacturers that they should approach the state government to get themselves empaneled so that farmers can have the choice to select drones for the purposes he or she wants to use it for. So this first thing is that these startups should get empaneled, particularly manufacturers, so that the stakeholders, once empaneled, the custom hiring centers, high-tech centers would also be aware about the empaneled manufacturers and purchase drones from them. Then only it will be available to them. My request also would be to all these manufacturers or service provider or to be the custom hiring centers themselves, because they know the technology, they have the drones, they are into this. So why can't they give their services in terms of renting the drones services to the farmers, whether it is for application of nutrients or for insecticides. So they themselves can also come forward to provide their services in agriculture drones. Then I would also say that we already have released funds to ICAR, and eventually these funds for demonstration purposes are already in the process of really getting released to Krishi Vigyan Kendras. So many of the Krishi Vigyan Kendras, almost every district would be covered, if I am correct, where the KVKs would have the funds available with them. And therefore, I am again and again requesting all these drone manufacturers to get themselves empaneled, so that even KVKs would know which are the drone manufacturers who are there already empaneled, and they can directly, place there. And so this is very important. Then another important institution which is there at the block level or even at the village level is the farmers producers organizations. So this is another concept and another institution which are available, and we are providing funds to them, because FPO is one such organization that can purchase drones, because the organization would have the capability in terms of resources, in terms of human resource, because FPOs can definitely hire those drone operators, etc. And they also have funds available. And we are also supporting under SMAM. So therefore, FPOs are other organizations that can be approached so that manufacturers can, provide their products to such FPOs. So KVKs, FPOs, individual farmers, custom hiring center, high-tech centers, all these institutions are now ready to purchase drones. So this is the kind of market that is available, readily available market as far as agriculture segment is concerned. So now another thing is that another very important intervention that we have added is the rural youth, how we can involve rural youth. For that also we have, have that guidelines. Within the guidelines, we said, okay, if the youth is having a graduation, BSc agriculture, then he or she also can open a custom hiring center, or can own a drone, purchase a drone, can provide services, then employ other youth in the area and promote the technology. So it is a very important thing to understand that how this drone can engage the rural youth that is going away from the agriculture. They are migrating to the urban centers. So drone gives an opportunity to rural youth to be in the village and can give the services of drones, can operate drones. And at the same time, they are also very, sort of, I would say they're the ambassador. They can be an ambassador of drone technology used in agriculture. So we must leverage this segment of population, rural youth, and we must. Therefore, I also say that probably startups that are there in this agriculture sector, they should engage with rural youth, so that this can ultimately be, seen in the fields of farmers, that it becomes a regular feature. Like we see tractors in the fields, in the farmers, it should become similar kind of scenario I foresee in future, provided we have the involvement of startups, we have the involvement of agriculture universities, KVKs, and service providers, and institutions like yours, like Crop Life, and that can also sort of give some kind of impetus to the technological use in agriculture in the rural regions. Then we have achieved that objective of making the drones accessible to the farmers. We are in the process. We are moving slowly, but we are in the process. We are moving, and there'll be a time then when we will see drones everywhere, when we have engaged with all the stakeholders, and then we come to the next level. I am also looking forward to the next level, when the companies can have their own R&D labs, or tie-ups with labs that can have further, technological development in drones in agriculture. Like what? Like crop acreage estimation. This is one application that where crops, equipped with mapping camera. Drones equipped with mapping camera can be flown across the fields to calculate exact crop acreage, and this data can be digitized and then records, like area ownership, agriculture, barren land, and those kinds of things will be very clearer, and those kinds of data will be generated, and we'll be able to estimate acreage. which will help the institutions in a big way. And for that, we would require drones with maybe RGB cameras. And we also, as far as this is concerned, we have some skilled manpower, more would be required. Then another area of application could be, which I am looking forward to, is the soil field analysis. And so drone equipped with hyperspectral camera can capture and analyze the field with respect to moisture, fertility level, and farmers in terms of deciding what type of crop he wants to take up. And for that also we need again something like multispectral camera, hyperspectral camera. So these are the kind of things now, startups should think how to make their drones enable with these kinds of cameras, so that this kind of services can be given by these startups. Crop insurance is another area. As I understand, already in 100 districts in under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, this pilot is being sort of going on, where drones are being used. So crop insurance is another very important segment of agriculture, where multispectral and visual sensors can assess the level of damage due to flood, drought, or any other natural disaster. An insurance company accordingly can, make an assessment for settling the claims. And there again, we can multispectral camera, which can be used. Then crop health monitoring is another area where we can identify crop stress, nitrogen deficiencies, crop scouting, plant height, water deficiency in the ground, density of crop growth. And even I have seen in other countries a fruit size. And, it is basically with drone, we have an advantage of assessing the impact. I mean, we can detect the disease at an early stage. That is the advantage. From the naked eye, farmer can see the fields are very green, but he cannot really assess whether some part of his crop is already having some kind of pest attack at a very early stage. So early decisions can save a lot of his, energy and lot of his crop, if that can be done. And that drone can play a very, very important role in this area. Irrigation planning also can be drones. When processed output of drones imagery give the realistic view of the field, like terrain, models, slopes, etc., which can help in irrigation planning throughout the field, and identify waterlogging also along with that. Then comes your crop yield assessment is another agriculture application which that drones can help, and can help in assessing the growth as per the season. Then comes the farming. Precision farming is targeted application of inputs. If that can be done using artificial intelligence and machine learning and developing algorithms. And so these are the kind of things, the next level I am looking at. So my request to all these startups, they should start working on that direction. Many of the state agriculture universities are already working. The presentation which was being made there, they were saying that some of the crops, they already have some SOPs developed. So more such SAUs or research organizations and even the startups can come forward and have this SOPs developed. Crop-wise would be required. Tamil Nadu is one such state where they have developed SOPs, crop-wise SOPs. Telangana is, Andhra Pradesh is another state, they have developed SOPs. And here the service providers, see in other countries what is happening is this, these startups are giving actually the services. Somebody is in the scouting, Some startup is in the crop health monitoring, some startup is in the overall yield assessment, some startups are in the precision agriculture, and then they are providing the services. But yes, in other countries, the farm holding is bigger. Therefore, farmers are in a position to pay those pay for the services of those startups, which is not the case in India at large. But still, we have a lot of opportunity when we are talking about farmers producer organizations, when we are talking about farmers clusters, when we are talking about packs. So these are the organizations these startups should be leveraging. And plus, we have industry in the agri processing area. We have a lot of industry. So, and they are basically, the other day we were also having presentations with some who are in this business, agri business, and they would definitely require these services from startups like you. So I would call upon all these startups, whether they are in manufacturing segment or whether in service provider segments, they should get in touch with FPOs and clusters and those food processing industries to give these kinds of services. This is how the drone technology can advance, can be promoted in agriculture. This is how I'm, looking at drone technology in futures to come. So thank you, PropLife. I thank you, ThinkAg, for inviting me in this forum. I would continue to see your presentation and learn more from you. And the moment I have something, I'll just quietly log off. So thank you, Asitavan.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much for such an insightful presentation of what startups can do, not only today, but also in future. So you talked about proactively collaborating with all other stakeholders, food processing companies, rural youth, FPOs, KVKs, universities. You also talked about the need for empanelment at the state government level. And you also set out a vision for what are the future applications possible. So once again, thank you very much, madam, for your great intervention and taking time out to be with us today. Thank you very much. And please be with us as long as you can. I'm sure you will have something to learn. Thank you very much. So in the interest of time, we'll quickly move over to the next presenter, which is Bharat Rohan Agribone. Before I do that, I just want to add that I can see there are over 40 Q&As. So we are flooded with question and answers. And my request to all speakers is that at the sideline, please feel free to answer those questions online itself. Obviously, you won't be able to take 40 questions today, then we'll have a whole day needed. So please, if you are interested to answer any of these questions, do that. Check your Q&A box. So now I invite Bharat Rohan, and it is very appropriate that Somita madam was talking about a lot of new applications like crop acreage estimation, soil health analysis, crop insurance, using hyperspectral imaging enabled UAV drone-based decision support system. And this is exactly what I believe Bharat Rohan does for early diagnosis of pest attacks, disease outbreak, nutrient deficiency, and all that through hyperspectral imaging enabled UAV. And I also, of course, the presenter will be Amandeep Panwar, Executive Director and CEO. And I believe Amandeep is also is in the Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia 2021 list. Congratulations, Amandeep. The floor is open to you. You have 10 minutes. You have to unmute yourself, Amandeep.
Sure. Thank you so much. And thank you, ma'am, for actually providing such a great insight. And it's great to be on this platform. So I'll just quickly begin with the presentation. So what we at Bharat Rohan are doing are we are providing drone-based crop monitoring service to the farmers since 2016. And we have now become a vertically integrated agri-tech company where we work with the farmers right from the stage of sowing until harvest, and we partner with them in each and every part of the value chain. So starting from the sowing, we first identify what is their soil pH and accordingly recommend the soil conditioner. For example, in crops like potato, the soil should be acidic in nature. But after a diagnosis, if we identify that soil is alkaline, then we recommend products like humic acid to be used on the crop. And then when the crop germinates further, we intervene and provide aerial survey and aerial data analysis in different stages. I'll talk more about this. We are currently working with around 20,000 acres of area with around 6,000 farmers, and we have been able to on an average increase farmer income to around 20,000 rupees per acre per season, and have been contributing to the reducing their chemical usage and crop losses. I think all of you would be aware about the problems that Indian agriculture is facing, but I'll not delve much deeper into it. But how we are doing and what we are doing is what matters. And so basically, we associate with farmer producer companies. Or we associate with rural entrepreneurs, where we set up a Bharat Rohan station. We call it as Bharat Rohan Kisan Safalta Kendra. Through that Kisan Safalta Kendra, we identify approximately 6,000 acres of area. That is the catchment area for us. And we begin the service by first of all geotagging and digitizing the farms who are enrolled with that FPC or that with that station. And after the geotagging, we identify what is the status of their soil, whether there is any requirement for soil conditioning that would be needed, followed by the germination. I'm sorry, Abhijit, I can't share my screen. Sure, thank you. So after that, we identify what kind of seed would be suitable for the crop, how which variety would be most suitable to be grown in that region, followed by periodic weather forecast and advisory about what action should be taken considering the weather forecast in that particular region, in the local farm, localized region. And then the crop attains a certain height, say 15 to 20 centimeters, or 3 to 4 leaves. We start with our drone-based crop monitoring, where we diagnose crop for pest attack, disease outbreak, and nutrient deficiency. We fly the drone every 7 to 15 days, depending on the crop stage and crop cycle, and keep on delivering the agri input advisory to the farmers, after every cadence. What the most important part of our service is that we help them reduce the chemical usage, and also the chemicals that are we avoid making the recommendation which are of the restricted pesticides, because in the value chain, if farmers keep on using the restricted pesticides, they get into the residue in the farm produce. And when a buyer, industrial buyers purchase from the farmers, they face a lot of trouble, and mostly when their exports get rejected. So what we are working on is that we use the practices that are being suggested by the institutional buyers, and implement those sustainable practices on the ground through our agri input advisory, and we make available those agri input through our Kisan Sahayog, Kisan Safalta Kendra itself. So that is where farmers can also purchase the agri input as per the advisory. And moving forward, when the crop is ready for the harvest, we purchase the commodity from the farmers and sell it to a larger institutional buyer, and that is where the entire cycle gets completed. So we provide farmers with not just the drone-based crop monitoring, but end-to-end solution where the institutional buyers or agri input companies can be provided with the real-time data, about what kind of inputs would be needed in terms of agriculture input company, and which farmers would require that input, so that they can precisely target those farmers who need a particular input. For example, I gave regarding humic acid. And for the institutional buyers, they can actually see, they can get down to farm level traceability and see what actions have been followed and what kind of practices farmers are performing, so that to ensure that the residue levels in the crop is minimized and are controlled. So we offer a complete dashboard, to each and every stakeholder who engage with us, be it the FPCs, farmer producer companies, agri-input company, or an institutional buyer. One of the major USP that we have is that we are working on hyperspectral imaging, which is as Madam also mentioned, one of the most advanced method of remote sensing, wherein we identify the crop issue even before there is a visible manifestation of a disease or a crop issue. This is coming from the fact that the spectral imaging helps us to not just understand what is a special identification, but also about more than 120 colors in beyond human perception that can be seen. So this is helpful in helping us identifying different biochemical changes based on different biomarkers. For example, in pomegranate crop, there are tal effector proteins which are secreted into the secretion system if it is infected by bacterial blight. So we pick up those biomarkers and identify those kind of issues and provide alerts to the farmers in the very early stage. And here is the impact that we have created, where just 2 adjacent crops are there. On the right, the farmer's field who is using our services is completely saved from the brown plant hopper infestation. Whereas on the left, the farmer who is not using the service, his crop was completely damaged because of the hopper burn. And we could provide them the early diagnosis in the early stage itself. We also ensure traceability. So scanning each and every farmer is allotted with a QR code, which can be traced until they produce. And the same QR code can be used to track each and every farm activity that has been followed on the ground. And as a result, the impact that we create for the farmers for multiple crops that we have worked on is significant. For example, for crops like cumin, it was 20,000 rupees per acre that we saved, and it is much more for potato and other crops. We have different revenue streams wherein we work with institutional buyers to sell the agri produce from the farmers whom we partner with. We also sell agri inputs to the farmers based on the early diagnosis that we perform, and also offer data analytics services to agri input companies, to different agri businesses, for their use. We are working with major FMCG retailers and manufacturers, and also looking for international market, particularly to help them procure residue-free farm produce. So we are working with a customer like Kachi Masala, where they require the produce free from certain chemicals, and we ensure that they are the commodity that we produce from that our farmers produce are free from those chemicals and are delivered to the customer. We have also worked with input companies like Advanta, UPL, and PI. And we have been supported by a lot of impact investors like Upaya and Acumen. We have also received several grants. We are also part of a portfolio company of AIDEA, which is an institute ICR, National Academy of Agriculture Research Management, and have been associated with other companies like ICICI Bank, Samanati, and Caspian. We are a team of aeronautical engineers, agribusiness experts, and hyperspectral imaging experts. And we are rapidly expanding and looking forward to partnering with new farm producer companies, new agri-input companies to set up different Bharat stations across India, and looking to scale rapidly thereafter. I have another, if the time allows, I have another slide that I can share where there's a one use case that we can represent, particularly for sugarcane, where we have worked on sugarcane crop in Balrampur, particularly for identifying different issues like weed. As you can see, the ground truth images are also here, and corresponding to that, we have created a map where we have identified zones which have weed infestation. We have also worked on, the root rot identification, red rot identification, as well as determining water logging. There are various other features that we are working on, like identifying gaps and identifying whether the rattoning should be performed in sugarcane or not. So we are working in multiple crops. We are currently present in Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan, and have worked in Maharashtra, Karnataka, Hyderabad, these kind of regions, and are looking to partner with different agri-input companies and other agri businesses. So that's all from my end. Thank you so much. Happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Amandeep. More or less, you stuck to time, and also I like the entire value chain vision that you have, starting from identification of the soil and pH, and ending with essentially selling the produce and traceability and things like that. So that is perhaps your USP. So I have one quick question. We are running a little bit behind time, about 5-10 minutes. We'll try to catch up. So one question is from Mr. Natubhai Patel, who's the Managing Director of Make Money Organics. Thank you very much, sir, for joining, taking your time out. His question is, for all these services, what are the charges per acre for a rice crop? Do you have an answer to this question, Amandeep? Average cost per acre?
Yes. So our goal is to associate with farmers on the entire, crop cycle. So if farmers cultivating paddy in Kharif and some other crop in Rabi, so we would like to engage for the entire year rather than just for single season. So for a single year, the cost range from around 1,500 rupees to 2,300 rupees, depending on the crop. And also depending on the region that we are working on. So that is for the entire year, the cost is, and along with the sale of agri input and procurement of the farm use.
Thank you very much. Hemendra, any question from you?
Yeah, 2 questions. And of course, it's not specific to Bharat Rohan. So when other presenters get a chance, they can also answer. So Aman, since you have been working in this space for a long time, I've known you, I think, for more than 5 years now. I think one question which Ms. Biswas also mentioned, that participation of rural youth is important to train them to fly drones and basically create opportunity for employment in rural areas. Given your experience, do you see that could be potential opportunity? And if you have to achieve that, what are the interventions required? It's like training academies, or these are digital courses, or I don't know what. So I think that if you can share some idea, that'll be very useful. Second thing, which I'm just thinking aloud, since all the drone companies are capturing so much of data, right? And I'm sure as the ecosystem matures, there'll be like hundreds and thousands of drones, and there are like millions of drone flights, each one capturing data. Is there a way to upload this data on a central server, which can act as a public ecosystem? Giving some real-time information on production, crop health, potential yields, or harvest schedules. Do you see that opportunity? Of course, it needs a lot of intervention, maybe from the government at some stage. But since so much of data is getting generated, which is really high-quality data, how can we make use of it? Not just for the potential application that you're using, but for other purpose also.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. So the first question, I think, this is how drone companies can actually access different regions. Like India is a vast country, so that is the only way to actually access data from different geographies, different rural locations, where we can train the rural youth to fly the drone to capture the data, and then creating a digital platform for them to upload the data on it, so that they can get the analyzed reports and for their farmers. In that direction, we are trying to work on creating some centers where we can select some rural youth who have little bit of technical background. Maybe they could be ITI or some electrical knowledge if they have, and then train them to fly the drone and support them in all the technical know-how. Even setting up different franchisee units that we are working on, where for 1 year or so we can keep on providing them with the technical know-how and support. For 2 months we provide them with the training, and then we keep it on their hands, that now they have to start generating the data and upload it onto our platform. So we are working on these kind of initiatives moving forward, but there are different resources that are required to be deployed. Also, for the purchase of UAV and other equipment, we still need to understand how farmers can avail such kind of subsidies for demonstration purposes. How the FPCs can use these kind of services, and get subsidies on that, so that they can actually try their hands out and understand more about the efficacy and value of the service that we intend to provide. So that's there. Second one is, in terms of collaboration, definitely I think there could be a platform that could be created. Different drone companies maybe get together to create such kind of open source platform, and we can primarily focus on large field crops, for example, wheat and paddy. And if data is being collected for these crops, this can be uploaded there. There can be maybe some business model that could be worked around there, where for the value of the data can also be paid out to the to the drone service providers or the company which is uploading the data. So I think that mechanism has to be established, but I think we as a agriculture drone service providers, we have to work around something on that aspect, and we are really open, and we would love to take up that initiative, even if that is something that is required, and if everybody's open to.
Thanks, Aman. No, of course, it needs much more deliberations, but yeah, I'm happy that you're open to such platforms. So that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hemendra and Amandeep both. I see Prem's hands up, but Prem, can you hold your question or comment for a minute? I want to catch up with the time so that everybody gets equal opportunity. We have 4 more startups to talk about. And as I said, both Aman and Prem, you have lots of questions in the Q&A box. So please do some multitasking and try to answer those questions online as you listen to the others. Even that way we can keep the discussion live and engaging. Excellent questions coming, and I'm very grateful to all the live and attentive audience who are participating actively. So my next invitee would be Thanos Technologies. Thanos is also based in Telangana and South. They are one of the early starters. I believe they started in 2016. I can see a lot of you have started in 2016. I don't know what was magical about that year, but very interesting. And over the last few years, I mean, of course, Thanos is an integrated manufacturer come drone as a service provider, and they have done in-house research and designed and built agriculture-specific drone platforms and applications. And you are already working in South India with companies like Bayer, Syngenta, Adama, Coromandel, IFCO, among others. So I invite Pradeep Paleli, co-founder and CEO. Pradeep, the floor is yours for the next 10 minutes.
Thank you, Sitava, for the kind introduction. Hi, everybody. This is Pradeep from Thanos Technologies. Let me share my screen. Please confirm once that is visible. Is my screen visible, Asadava?
Yes, very much.
Great. Thank you. Hi, everybody. This is Pradeep. I represent Thanos Technologies. We are a drone design and manufacturing company based out of Hyderabad with a core focus on agriculture. Incorporated in 2016, our core capabilities, I would say, are spread across designing and manufacturing customized drones for almost any kind of application. We not only design and manufacture drones, but also repair pretty much any kind of drone out there, owing to the capabilities of our technical team. We are also one of the very few companies in India, agricultural drone companies in India, who assemble or build our own lithium-ion battery packs as well. One of the key USPs of our agricultural drones, I would say. Now, when it comes to drones in agriculture, which is our key focus area over the last 6 years, any kind of application pretty much when it comes to drones in agriculture comes into two broad categories, either automation or intelligence. Pretty much any application can be categorized broadly into these two areas. And we are at present majorly focused on the automation segment and slowly planning to get into the intelligence segment as well. So I briefly touch upon the various products we already have in automation front and what we intend to do in the intelligence segment of applications of drones in agriculture. So first and foremost product I would say, which is of major focus to us, is the agriculture spraying drone platform. Now, I'm assuming pretty much everyone in the presentation would have heard or seen or probably practically experienced also agriculture spraying drones on some capacity, either in the form of a demonstration or a commercial pilot itself. At present, what we have is a 10-liter capacity spraying drone, which is completely designed and built in India. We use our own lithium-ion batteries. As with most agricultural spraying drones, we do have manual and autonomous functions as well. Owing to the lithium-ion batteries that we build in-house, we have industry-leading flight time of 20 minutes on a battery-powered agricultural spraying drone of 10 liters capacity. And right now, 10 liters capacity in hexacopter configuration is our main product. But in future, we plan to launch our 5 to 6 liter drone capacity as well. I'll get to a minute and why we think even smaller drones are also required for the Indian market as such. The other drone that we plan to launch in future, or rather a drone platform as such, is something that is commonly used across mapping, inspection, surveillance domains, not only in agri but non-agri as well. Same drones, when fitted with multispectral or hyperspectral or other kind of agri-specific cameras, can gather a bunch of intelligence which, when analyzed, can give certain insights based on which farmers or service providers can take timely action. So intelligence and automation, basically, they go hand in hand, wherein we are currently focusing on the low-hanging fruit of automating an activity which is filled with drudgery, and given the fact that labor is also unavailable in Indian agricultural areas where the problem only worsens every year. Right now, we are addressing the automation solution. But once you bring in the intelligence aspect, the various data points and insights, you close the precision agriculture loop. Precision agriculture as a term has been around for quite some time. Quite a few ground-based sensory and imagery analytics have been in use for quite some time. Now we'll be having an eye in the sky or aerial insight also in the form of a camera-based drone, which will be adding inputs, post which, when we say insights or analytics, it's basically to do with some kind of action you need to take once you have the insight in hand. That's why the automation also comes into picture. So automation, which is like a low-hanging fruit, you could say, based on the platform that is already available. We are already working on that. And soon we intend to launch these mapping platforms also, which we will combine and offer as a product to service providers, agri-service providers, or even large landowners also, who can use both platforms together and close the precision agriculture loop by making the best use of intelligence as well as automation platforms. In terms of services, so we are predominantly mainly a manufacturing company with our core capability of designing top-class drones with highest flight times. But in order to showcase how the platforms work and how the SOPs are to be set, what are the nitty-gritties of field operations, over the last 3 to 4 years, we've been involved in spraying service operations across Telangana, AP, and Karnataka, Maharashtra as well, as part of which we have done close to about 3,500 acres of spraying as part of demonstrations and commercial pilots with farmers and agrochemical companies combined. This was spread mainly across 4 different key crops that we selected, which have the highest frequency or most amount of acreage, so to say, which is rice, that is paddy, cotton, mirchi, and maize. More than 30 plus combinations of chemicals have been tested, spread across various companies, Bayer, Syngenta, Adama. Even in fertilizer segment, we've tried out, we've worked with Coromandel and IFCO closely. A lot of R&D trials have been done. We've been one of the earliest partners of Bayer Crop Science in India, wherein since 2018 end, we've been doing the trials, post which we have worked with other chemical companies also. So as you're aware, all chemical companies are required to carry out certain trials in guidelines with the SOP and CIBRC guidelines that are there. Temporarily, there are certain exemptions given for the next 2 years where a list of chemicals have been approved to be used in drones. But even later on, there is the need to expand the label claim for usage of these chemicals with drones. And we've been working with a few chemical companies on that front. And we'll be happy to support any other company also with regards to data collection and R&D trials. So agriculture, drone manufacturing, R&D trials, these kind of support is something we're actively involved in. But the second part that comes into anybody's mind is that given that there are agri-drone manufacturers, who is going to operate them? This has been one of the biggest issues, I would say, in the last few months, where there is an extreme shortage of trained drone pilots for agricultural spraying. Most manufacturers, the service providers on call would agree with what I'm saying, and this is where we've taken certain initiatives. We have been working with at least one DGCA certified RPPO based out of Hyderabad, Flight Aviation Academy, and we are working with a couple of others also by providing them drones, by lending them our expertise in terms of drone flying and drone operation. And so far, more than 120 drone pilots have been certified as per DGCA guidelines. And this is something we've been doing over the last 14 months. And this we will be combining with agricultural drone training operation itself. So the key aspect we're trying to address here is, in addition to DGCA certified drone pilots, you also need someone who is aware of how to handle agricultural drones itself. And this is where we have started partnering with a couple of other organizations also, which I'll get to in a minute in terms of what engagement models we have with them. But to briefly touch upon how we can work with the various agricultural companies that are there in India, there are 4 different stages or models, I would say, in which we have been engaged in the past and can engage with companies going forward. The first part involves R&D trials. So let's say you're a company who's new to the drone technology, who's just heard about it and hasn't done any trials or much work on the drone-related spraying front. The first step would be R&D trials. You choose a small plot, so we can help design the farm plot or the protocol itself and carry out the trials owing to the experience we've gathered over the last 3 to 4 years. Once you're done with R&D trials, you validated your chemicals, comes the commercial pilots. That is doing on the field what is a precursor to actual commercial spraying operations. 100 acres, 200 acres, small bits and pieces in a specific mandal or a village that can be taken, wherein you validate the entire field operation model itself. And then so this is a model for agrochemical companies also and agri-service providers as well. Yeah, the third phase, I would say, is those who are interested in buying the drones in order to set up their own operations. Since we are a manufacturer, we'll be supplying the drones along with the warranty, and starting year 2, the AMC also, based on which we will be handholding the customer at every stage by making sure that they have adequate spares and technical support at the back end. And the last one is, in case someone intends to launch their own field spraying operations, we'll be training their candidates and also we'll be helping in launching the field operations itself. Given the experience we've gathered over the 3,500 acres of spraying, we'll be talking about the nitty-gritties of field operations on the OPEX front. All the knowledge that we've gathered, we'll be transferring to the agri-service provider or the chemical company in helping them launch the operations without having to reinvent the wheel or learning everything from day one. These are some of the associations we have with PJTSAU, EcoSat, and we've worked with ANGRU as well. And in terms of the creating the talent pool itself, which I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, recently we started engagements with National Skill Training Institute in Hyderabad, wherein we started taking drone pilots, drone technicians, and we are training them in-house, post which they will be joining the drone industry either as pilots or drone assembly and service technicians. This is something for which we signed an MOU with an STI, and we'll be expanding on this program. The second part is where we are visiting polytechnic colleges of PJTSU Telangana. We are interacting with them, showing them drones, telling them the opportunities that are available in the Indian agri-drone market so that this talent pool is created. So this is also something that will be expanding over time. These are, it's a brief short list of the global customers global and national customers that we work with. So that concludes my presentation briefly upon what we're doing and what is the possible engagement model with potential partners. These are my coordinates. Anybody who's interested in discussing further may please reach out to me on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep, for the nice presentation. Some questions are there popping up. Many of them are very interesting, but I must be very cognizant of the time. We have 3 more presenters and just 35 minutes left in our scheduled time. So in the interest of time, I'll move over to the next. Pradeep, try to answer some of the questions that are there in the Q&A box.
Sure.
Thank you very much. The next company I'll invite is Daksha Unmanned Services. Daksha is closely associated with Anna University in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and they're very deeply involved in pilot training models. And also, I believe Daksha, this company has been a pioneer in terms of developing a petrol engine-based agri-drone, which is called, I believe, Aggregator. Very interesting. So can I invite, and of course, it's a manufacturing company, Daksha. So can I invite Dr. Raja Raman, who's the Chief Business Officer and Board Member of Daksha Unmanned Services. 10 minutes, sir, for you.
Sure. Thank you so much for introducing. I'll quickly run through this presentation. Can everybody see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, about Daksha, it started in the year 2001 when Dr. Abdul Kalam was teaching in MIT Anna University. He had a vision to bring drones into India, and he started a unit within MIT Anna University, one of the prestigious universities in South, and he named it Daksha. And from 2001 to 2019, for about 18 years, that unit went on to do more than 150 crores worth of different types of projects across India, mostly for saving lives, either in terms of floods and things like that, or in terms of providing support to our defense forces. So many different projects they did. And then 2019, so this company was incubated out of Anna University. So our parentage is sort of linked to Anna University. Today, we pride ourselves in this association because Anna University still leads the effort in terms of research and development on various drone technologies, which we have been partnering with. And then so therefore we established a manufacturing center in 2019. We floated it as a separate company called Daksha Unmanned Systems Private Limited. And today we have a 70-acre farmland outskirts of Chennai, where we do all our testing and other proving grounds, as we call it passionately. So where we prove our products, and also every product that rolls out of our plant goes through a 20-hour flight testing on various parameters before it is shipped to the customer. So that's something which we created. So we also specialize in variety of things, multi-rotor battery drones, mostly for defense applications, petrol engine drones, which is, we are the only company, I think, in India right now, which is offering petrol engine drones. These drones are typically used when you have to lift a heavy amount of material like pesticide and things like that, or if you have to fly for a very long distance, like our petrol engine drones fly up to 75 kilometers one way during live feeds and so forth. We also have other types of drones like VTOLs and tethered drones, which are used in non-agricultural applications primarily. We also have a current R&D going on of using tethered drones, a different kind of tethered drone for agricultural applications. So these are some of the research which we are doing. We are also partnered with Honeywell for Beyond Visual Line of Sight. We are one of the few consortiums which were approved by DGCA. We are also a DGCA certified R&D organization. Out of 154 companies that participated in Indian Air Force competition, we won the first prize for drone architecture. And we won a 2.5 crore cash award from Indian Air Force. So these are some of the achievements we have done. I'll just quickly run to more of Agri. And as a leadership team, we have people from Toyota background, Dr. Krishna Kumar, who has spent a lifetime on UAVs from Anna University. Again, he's heading this technology development and so forth. And customers we have served, these are some popular names, but we also serve quite a lot of agricultural farmers. We have FPOs as customers. We have KVKs as customers. KVK Vruddhachalam uses our products extensively. We have Tamil Nadu Agricultural University that uses our product. They were, in fact, the first customer we had on agricultural drone way back in 2019. And so many others are using our products today. And these are total product line. I will probably focus a lot more on the agricultural product here. This is a very important slide I want to focus on because this is a very unique product. When we had tremendous amount of capability to develop this solution in both in agri solution in battery platform and also in petrol engine platform, the university chose the petrol engine platform because it was a lot more affordable for the farmers as they were planning to use this, because typically a drone like this with 10 liters of pesticide capacity would have a capability to spray 4,000 to 5,000 acres in a year. That would translate approximately, if you were to buy battery packs, in our experience, it would 16,000 mAh battery pack would translate to a huge investment of around 8 to 10 lakh rupees every year. These prices keep fluctuating based on dollar prices too. So therefore, we decided along with the university to go for a petrol engine drone where the prices could reduce from operational costs could reduce from 10 lakh rupees approximately to around 2.5 to 2.8 lakh rupees or so. So that was the primary driver why we designed it as completely as a petrol engine based drone. So all you need is just plain simple petrol that's available everywhere to operate this drone. And this drone, is also very easy to maintain, easy to operate. We have designed it completely as a farmer-friendly drone with very limited interventions requiring during. I think it's a fully autonomous drone. It has got a camera attached to it, so you can have a view of what's being sprayed. You also have got high levels of accuracy in terms of GPS integration and so forth, so you know exactly what area is yours that needs to be sprayed. You will also find that we use carbon fiber props for this thing. These carbon fiber props are manufactured in our own plant. These batteries are manufactured here in Chennai. And this one battery we use here, which is replaced once in 1.5 years or so. This is mainly for standby emergency purposes. In case there is an issue with the transmission or with the signals, the battery will take over and safe land the mission. We also have a digital terrain follower so that it follows the terrain and up to 30 meters or so, it has an altitude detection. So if you have a same field with differing height of crops, especially when you have horticultural applications, then this would automatically detect the level at which it has to be flown. And it also has got obstacle avoidance. So if there is an electrical pole in between, or if you are spraying using for tea plants where there are trees in between, this could be very well used. So, typically they are used for 8 hours a day, and they cover about 30 to 35 acres in a day, approximately. And then the petrol consumed is merely a 650 ml petrol per acre of land. So roughly translating into rupees, it's about 80 rupees or so we'll be spending per acre on fuel expenses. So that's another invention we did. I'll go to the next slide where we talk about the spray efficiency has been increased tremendously. So I'll go into it. So some of these nozzles have been redesigned to give droplet sizes of 250 millimeter and so forth. So therefore, I can share the presentation with all of you so that I'm running short on time as I was told. So we have done tremendous amount of work. We also partnered with one of the largest tractor companies for a year to do a study on more than 72 different crops. And so this drone has been perfected for various different environments across India, where we sprayed more than 6,000 acres of land as part of the testing. That included chili, cotton, rice, vegetables, paddy, mango, you name it. We have done almost all the top crops in India. These are some case studies of tomatoes and so forth done in Gujarat. Most of you are pretty much aware of this. Basically, this is to demonstrate that these kind of drones are very helpful in terms of reducing your overall pesticide consumption and also the water consumption. So what we offer is a complete solution. We offer the drone system. We train the technicians. There is not much of maintenance required, except that 300 hours or so of flying, you may need a bit of engine maintenance. So we have got a network of distributors and service centers all across India. So they will be able to service you. And most of the servicing can be done by yourself. So we train you on that. And the pilots are trained for 10 days at an university for a 10-year license, as you all know, it's a registered RPTO. And we have 200 plus parts and accessories and payloads that are available. In case anything goes wrong, those are all stocked across India. And the turnaround time, we adhere to very strict SLAs on that. So we support, wherever we sell, we support them with very high levels of turnaround time. And the other thing is that the training is offered at a very discounted rate. The medium class drone training program is offered at 45,000 rupees today. And then the small drone is offered at 30,000 rupees if you are associated with the Daksha. And the way we engage is that we have distributors all across India, and we have they do the drone servicing. They have drone backups in case you are a corporate buying several drones from us. We have backup drones there in case anything happens. There is a business continuity program where you will be given an alternate drone to continue your services while your drone is getting serviced. Although that occurrence is pretty rare, we still provide that as a service. And we have training programs and accessories available. We are also establishing training programs, training centers across India in association with Anna University. So that brings to the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Rajaraman. Very nice presentation. One question which is common for everybody, whether we'll get the copy of the presentation. So the answer has already been posted by Abhijit. Yes, unless any of the presenters object, which I'm sure they won't, copies will be circulated by us, ThinkAg and CropLife, with all participants today. So don't worry about it. Thank you. And one quick question for you, Rajaramanji, which is coming up in a quick answer, whether your petrol drone has applied for type certification, or whether you have completed the process, or have you got the type certification? Hello? Can you hear me?
So I think he's dropped in. I can't see him anymore.
For a minute my screen froze. So can you hear me now?
Okay. We can hear you, but I think Raja is. I can't see him on the panel.
Acha. Sorry, who can you not see?
Yeah, he's back now.
He's back.
I'm really sorry. I got carried away with the intensity of this program. I forgot to charge my laptops. To answer your question, yes, a copy of the presentation will be made available to everyone.
Correct. Okay, fine. So, Hemendra, we can move to the next one. We have two more left.
Yeah, I know, but I was very keen to ask Raja about economics of petrol engine versus a battery-operated drone. But if we are short of time, we can share it separately. That's okay.
I can share.
Quick answer. No problem. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The capital cost is a little different. The case of battery drones, typically they average at around 6.5 to 7 lakh rupees without the battery cost, and you need 10 sets of batteries or so to operate. And so therefore the overall cost would come to 11.5 lakhs or so. That's the cost of same is the cost of ownership of a petrol engine drone. So technically they are comparable on the capital cost. On the running cost per year, they take around 8 to 10 lakh rupees to operate a battery drone, whereas it would cost you 2.5 to 3 lakh rupees to operate a petrol engine drone. I'm assuming an enormous escalation in petrol prices.
It's cheaper, the petrol drones.
Yes, sir. Absolutely cheaper. Yep.
Okay.
So we do offer. We also have a battery drone, but we decided not to go with that for the time being.
Okay. And what is the reason for battery drone cost being higher? I mean, one would say that battery just needs charging and, like the electric cars, they are much cheaper than petrol cars into operation. Is it because you have to change the batteries or what is it?
Yes, sir. The battery, typically the battery cycles are short-lived because it's a fast discharge battery. It's a C-grade battery. When you use C-grade battery, you have to discharge within 6 minutes or 10 minutes. In some cases, was 20 minutes, somebody was saying. So what happens is that when you discharge so fast, the battery life tends to be for 250 cycles or so. So what typically happens is you need to keep buying batteries as they go dead after every 200, 300 acres or so. So therefore, what happens is that, and also you need a charging infrastructure, you need a genset in the field and so forth. So these make it very little bit expensive. I mean, the guys who are selling battery drones are going to dislike me for this comment, but.
Sitava, hi, this is Pradeep from Thanos. Yeah, I can straight away say that I don't agree with what Mr. Rajaram said. Pretty much both CapEx and OpEx are not as at least in our operational experience, that's not what it is. But yeah. I'm sure that's a debate we can have at a later point.
Sir, I'll just add one more point, sir. Is because all the SOPs are done based on the nozzles or on the battery based. If you have to use this drone in agriculture, the scientific trials on a atomizers which are using nozzles, because entire the agriculture spraying is a nozzle, right? Because the scientific data and the scientific data using in 2 crop cycles has to be submitted so that the drone can be used by the farmers and CIB board can be used, because none of the chemicals people have tested have kept in public domain on the petrol-based drone. Everybody has worked on the battery-based, is what we know. If you have anything such SOPs or any scientific data, will be helpful for us to learn about the battery-based drones.
Yeah, we have worked with almost every major corporate in India who have done extensive testing on these drones. I will check with them if they are okay with sharing some of this thing. If they are okay, then definitely I would love to share this. Otherwise, we have our own testing. Whatever tests we did with our own fields, I can share that data with you. And by the way, 3 different types of nozzles here, depending on the nature of end-use application.
Sure, thank you. I think this debate will go on. I mean, why only battery and petrol? There may be something else coming up in future.
But a good debate. I think we should get more data on this so that there's no confusion on economics.
Absolutely, Hemendra.
Time will tell the answer, which is better in what condition. It's not a black and white situation. Certain situations will demand certain type of applications or fuel, if I may call it. So now we must do justice to the 2 remaining companies so that they don't blame us for giving them less time. So next presenter is Skyland Drone Tech, which is a service provider. And I believe they have done a lot of work in fertilizer spraying in Madhya Pradesh in 6 districts and all that. So may I invite Prayas Saxena, founder and CEO. Prayas, sorry, we are running a bit short of time, not your fault, but if you can make up in some way, I'll be very grateful. Thank you. Your voice is not coming through, Prayas, for some reason. Just see the mic.
Can't hear you. Maybe your Bluetooth issue. You're unmuted, so that's not a problem. We can't.
Is it audible now?
Yes.
Yes.
Apple works best without the mics. That's great. All right. So hello, everybody, and thank you very much for this wonderful platform. And I would like to talk a lot of things. Though the time is less, I will start with my very small presentation. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
All right. So basically, yes, we are formed in last year only. Means like we are very new in this domain, and we formed this company in the month of September 21. Though we were working from the past one and a half years into the technology, and we were trying to understand that what are the major loopholes and where the services are most needed. So yes, we made a platform where we can connect a bridge, we can create a bridge between the technology and the farmers. Also, a bridge for all the manufacturers, the other stakeholders in the industry, and we can give them, we can serve them a good service. The first thing we did is the agriculture. And let me just tell you that we are the first DaaS platform in Central India. We are the first service provider at such a big scale who are doing it, working closely with the CAIE, AIC Prestige, and we are DPIIT recognized as startup. We have over 4,000 acres of spray with 375 plus farmers. The number has been increased. And these are the major areas which has been served. Okay. And these are the crops which we have done till date. Again, the number has been increased and the crop has also been increased in the last 1 or 2 months. So basically, our business model is simple. We are serving farmers, service partners, and agri-input companies, basically. Our service partners are usually the manufacturers. We are buying currently from Iotech, and we are using those drones. Giving these services to all the farmers, and we majorly focused on the farmers first to provide these services instead of going B2B or B2B2C portals. So and the results were amazing. The acceptability, the ground issues, we are able to see that we have actually faced the ground issues what a farmer will face. It is not something based on one particular product. I'll not say that yes, we are working with the multiple companies, agri-input companies, but right now we will only say that yes, we have worked for the farmers. So there are a lot of issues which are there. So we are trying to resolve that. Plus, there are a lot of buzz around that a correct set of persons should come in. So what we have developed is we have developed a training centers. We are coming up with some training modules, and we have started giving those trainings in some agriculture institutes, agriculture universities in Indore and in Madhya Pradesh, basically. We are getting a good turn up. There are a lot of new generation agronomists who are interested to go ahead with the technology and come into our service network, basically. This is how this model will be successful. The prices are very much high right now comparatively, it's crossing 500 rupees sometimes per acre. How we can control that? We can control those prices by making more number of networks and close proximity. So if this service center, the base station is available in the nearby area, obviously the operational cost is definitely going to be less. And just for that, we are making as big network as possible. Apart from that, yes, we are developing it with so we want to be the choice of brand for the farmers first. Apart from that, yes, definitely with the agri-input companies following the 100% SOPs, we have made sure that none of them has left when it comes to provide solution to the farmers. We are doing our best to provide the solution to the companies and to the farmers. And in order to provide justice, yes, the service companies are available with us. So partnering with DaaS platform like us will help. Basically, there are 4 different parameters where we have, where we are working on. So the companies can join hand with us, can invest with the equipments, and we can provide the pilots with the best training, and we can get them certified from the institutes and with the companies as well. Like recently, we are working closely with Syngenta, and they are trying to train our pilots with their agronomists that what kind of solutions they should use, what kind of formulations they should be using. There are a lot of information which one of our colleagues, Prem, has given very valuable information. So there are a lot of places where we need a lot of support from the agronomists when it comes to spraying the fertilizers and especially the insecticides. So yes, such kind of feedbacks are definitely taken, means like we are taking a point of that, and we are putting it into our training module. The best part is partnering up will provide more and more network and more access to the companies as well to get this better access to all the remote places. Okay. As of today, we have got 4 centers which have been empaneled with us as of now. We have 2 centers near Indore and 2 centers in Raisen and Jabalpur. So we are going ahead with all these centers and increasing the numbers day by day, providing the services as well as the training part. However, I'm also here to highlight on some of the problem statements which are there. The subsidies, there is no procedure which has been out. There is a lot of, because we are also enabling people to use this kind of service and go into such kind of industry and start doing this business as micro entrepreneur in their respective villages. So this is a major factor which is coming up, that the procedures are not yet out properly, which creates a lot of problem. And the second important thing is there is no benefits for the service provider as of now, which has been announced. Okay. Apart from AIF, which is just providing at this point of time only 3% of interest subvention, there is no such facilities to the service providers. So the basic thing is that whenever there is huge fields and whenever there is a huge number which is needed, we also need to have certain number of drones available with us and provide these services in-house. Procuring such kind of big equipments and number of equipments with us is a lot of capex oriented investment, and which is definitely a matter to think about it. Hence, our service costs we need to cut down our operational costs so that we can give a better cost to the farmers. Then the service cost should be shared between, this is what we think, the service cost should be shared between the government, the agri-input companies and the farmer, so that the effective use of technology can be done. Also, there should be a single window operations, basically, where all these subsidies, benefits, empanelments should happen from the one single point of time. These are our contact details.
Good. You're done, right?
Yes.
Prayas? Thank you very much, Prayas. You also had some suggestions to improve the ecosystem, which, by the way, we also partly addressed and discussed in our previous webinar. But yeah, of course, it's an ongoing discussion and improvement is possible from all stakeholders. Even the government has a role to play in making easier doing business, ways of doing business in a more easier format. So thank you very much, Prayas, for your time. I think I'll move to the next presenter, who is the last one, which is IoTech World Navigation. IoTech is a manufacturer, and they are the first recipient of type certificate under the Drones Rules 2021. So congratulations, IoTech. And also they have come out with a portable AgriBot, they call it AgriBot, which can move around on a two-wheeler, making it more mobile from one farmer field to the other. So we have Saurav Srivastav, their General Manager Sales, to talk about IoTech. Saurav, the floor is yours for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Saurav Srivastav. So basically, I'm from IoTech World. And as sir said that we are the first company who has got this type certificate, right? So basically there are two co-founders, Deepak Bharadwaj and Upadhyay. So basically we are a very old company. We started in 2017 and we are very much focused on the agriculture drone, right? So basically we have participated, we have done the trials with Ministry of Agriculture and many scientists in India. And our name is mentioned in the as a technical expert in the SOP of agriculture and drone rule, right? So basically this is our USP. So we have a manufacturing unit in Gurgaon, Haryana, and we have right now capacity of 1,000 drone manufacturing per month and type certified drone. We have presence across India. So basically, right now our focus states are Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, North, West, and South. Service centers, we have our own service centers to provide the after sales support to the customers. That is very important thing, and we are very much focused on that. So crop spread, paddy, wheat, sugarcane, almost all the crops we have sprayed, and we have customers, more than 150 customers, farmers basically, who are flying our drones for last 3 or 4 years. And recently our 4 farmers met with Modi ji, where we have launched that bike model, right? So basically our farmers, they have generated a lot of data. They have worked on many crops, right? So basically, and we are working with many corporates, agri input companies who are generating the data using our drone, right? So basically, this is our drone, AgriBot. So right now, we started with 4 drones, but right now we are very much focused on this agriculture drone. So there are some USPs. So this is a hexacopter drone, 10-liter capacity, and you can spray 30 acres per day with the multiple battery set and sets of batteries, and the flight time is 20 minutes. There are basically safety features, that is collision avoidance and terrain following, that are radar based. So we are using the radar technology, and these sensors basically, they are very much important if you fly the drone in agriculture field, right? Because the drone has been designed as per the Indian field conditions, right? So this is the basically main difference when you use the manual spray and drone spray. So there are a lot of advantage, and the advantage already has been discussed in this forum, so I will not explain too much. So basically, this is the USP. The flight time is 20 minutes, and you can spray 1 acre in 7 minutes, and per hour you can spray 4 to 5 acres, 30 acres per day. And the battery charging time is basically 1 hour. We have minimized to 35 to 40 minutes. And minimum battery sets required 6 sets for using spraying 30 acres per day. So this is the basically costing. A lot of discussed about the costing. So this is the costing when you use 30 acres per day. So there are components, capex and opex. So the cost is coming 2 to 6, and normally we are charging 500 rupees to 600 or 700 rupees per acre, right? So this is the costing. These are the days basically. So 200 days we have considered per year for pesticide and fertilizers. So everything we relate with the cost, because end of the day, either it is a agri input manufacturer or farmer, they consider the cost of the operations, what is coming. So this is the cost, and we have done this low cost spray. So this is the another slide, and they are our customers. So all the agricultural universities, and they are our customers. They are using our drone. PAU has published 5 research paper using our drone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Saurav, particularly for very transparently presenting the cost breakup, which will be useful for all of us, I believe, to benchmark. And I'm sure as scales grow, more and more farmers adopt drones, the costs will come up. Any technology we have seen over a period of time, costs come down as volume grows.
Definitely, actually, we already have developed our batteries, lithium-ion batteries, and we are applying for the BIS. So the battery cost is basically the major cost, right? So we are working on to reduce the OPEX cost. So it will be like say below 100 rupees, right? And as I told that we have developed the bike model. So the bike model we already launched, and the cost of operation will definitely reduce. So we are going to reduce the operation cost and per acres per spray, so that we can provide the spray services at very affordable rate to the farmers, right?
Very good, excellent. Hemendra, any one question before we move to concluding remarks?
I think in interest of time, maybe we can move to the concluding remarks.
Correct.
Yeah, I think Prem wanted to make a point. We can give him an opportunity if he's still around.
Thank you, sir. The only thing is, a lot of people in the country have taken government of India's public money, our tax-paying money, and doing a lot of research. Each university is doing, each company is doing, and a lot of people in silos are working. I think this is a time where we need to come together, work, share all the, as you said, on the only the data acquisition part, but a lot of R&D research is there. Example, the entire country is working only on the spraying. Everybody is going about the spraying itself, but a lot of things have happened in pollination, hybrid rice, or like more of, you could see a lot of other use cases are there, which is there. I think that the collaborative kind of a mindset has to come among the companies, corporates and the agri universities and work together so that because still I was super surprised. A lot of people are asking which is obvious things which we thought they are aware of it.
No, absolutely good. No question that we need more collaboration, because I believe we are really doing some good work and each one of you heads off to your efforts. But I think if we collaborate, maybe we can do it more efficiently.
One more thing I want to highlight is,
So
one more thing I want to highlight here, sir, is that a huge, the people know there is a subsidy there and everything. But what happens is, sir, is the few challenges which is there, which is not addressed. The input GST, which is going to bear by the rural entrepreneur or the FPOs or thing, which is, I feel is can be waived off. Couple of things. Then because the 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs is a huge for them to save. First thing. Second is still the lot of the IFCOs, NABARDs, a lot of people are trying to see the subsidizing on the cost and everything, but still we need to demystify a lot of things. Is what I understand there is on the subsidy point of view, on the taxation point of view, on the capacity point of view, so that the industry flourish and we don't need to mask it and do the business, I feel.
Absolutely, and please do share your suggestions with me, Asitawa. We'll make sure that we share it with the right policymakers and at least let them know that this is one challenge. Of course, the decision
actually,
is with
I would
them,
also like to.
Yeah.
I would also like to add on, like we should have another session which should be only concentrated on the issues what we are facing into the industry, which is very much important. Until unless somebody will not address these features, this ecosystem is definitely going to fail.
It's a large set of issues, Prayas, or they are like.
So, sorry, anything else? I'm very happy that we have caught up from the lost time. We are back on time. So, any other burning comments? Otherwise, we'll just move on, because this, all questions will not be answered today. It's an ongoing discussion, and I'm sure we'll do another one, and we'll keep engaging with each other. So, with everybody's permission, I will request everybody to put on their video if they can, because I think we are all together now. And we will hear a little bit from the corporate sector now, because the whole idea was to connect startups with corporate. So on behalf of the crop protection and agri-input industry, we have Dr. S. Mallikarjunappa from Bangalore, who recently retired from Rallis India, which is a Tata company, as VP R&D. He has been involved with the journey of drones for a long time on behalf of Rallis. And right now he's working as an advisor with Rallis. So Mallikarjunappa, your 5 minutes just to conclude and give a big thank you to all the speakers and the participants. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, whether Madam is there or she left?
She has left, I think.
Okay.
Abhijit, she has left, I think, right?
Yeah, Siddhava, she has left.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, sir. Good evening to all of you. Anyway, in the absence of Madam also, I respect Madam and all the distinguished drone technology innovators and all the participants, and especially ThinkAg as well as CLI members. It's my pleasure to have been asked to offer a vote of thanks on the occasion of this webinar for drone applications in agriculture and crop protection. Certainly, drone technology is going to play a vital role in agriculture in the coming years, because I personally experienced with the technology. I'm sure drone technology can help to improve the farm productivity and production by or through crop health monitoring and spraying of both crop protection formulations as well as even crop nutritions with various interventions. So certainly drone is going to play a vital role. In today's context, because of farm labor scarcity and abnormal weather conditions, to take up a very important critical actions or interventions in agriculture, drone is going to play a vital role. In my opinion, it is going to be a big game changer actually. As one of the unique solution, from the mechanization. So that's how I conclude. And Madam Shomita, Joint Secretary, so well this one articulated, and it was, I can say, thought-provoking address. You can say she could touch up on many points actually. In fact, all of you are attempting to work in that direction to use drone for various applications in agriculture to help Indian farming community. So that is definitely possible. In this occasion, I would like to thank Madam. In spite of her busy schedule, she could make it and spent more than, I think, 30 minutes to address her thought process. And I'm sure all of you and even all participants also can think in that direction. So on behalf of ThinkAg and CLI, I thank ma'am for her wonderful presentation. So secondly, I would like to thank all the drone application innovators. So definitely all of you have covered very nicely about your progress and achievements. In fact, I had even a couple of webinars one-to-one, within other forums also. Certainly, if I take up Marut drone, Mr. Prem Kumar, certainly they are doing a wonderful job, and they have come out with right specifications to fly the drone to get the desired benefits, to help for farming community. And definitely, whatever Marut drone have done the specifications, it really working well, and it is very well accepted by the farming community. With this, we thank Mr. Prem Kumar on behalf of ThinkAg as well as CLI for your valuable time and sharing your experience on your progress. Coming to next, Bharat Rohan Airborne Innovation, presented by Mr. Amandeep Panwar, Executive Director and CEO. Certainly, your strength is you are closely associating with FEOs, because that is very important in order to get the right benefit out of drone application. So connecting FEOs are very, very important actually. So thereby, Bharat Rohan is really focusing through FEOs. That certainly helps a lot. And they have mentioned even seed to harvest solutions, means end-to-end solution, and very importantly is backed by farm produce. That is very important. Though there are certain interventions, including even a drone application, but ultimately, end of the day, farmer need right price for his produce. So in that direction, Bharat Rohan is really working. So I'm sure that helps a lot, and already they have demonstrated very high cost benefit on many crops with their drone solutions. So with that, I thank on behalf of, again, ThinkAg as well as CLI. So next important innovator is Mr. Pradeep Paleli, is a co-founder as well as the CEO of Thanos. So their unique achievement, because though I heard, but I could see his presentation and the way in which he mentioned it, certainly there is a great opportunity to work on pilot training. That is very important actually. Because nowadays, see, whatever we talk about drone applications and its uses in agri with the various applications, ultimately we need a right pilot with DGCA certificate or other training centers. So that is very important. And in fact, Thanos is focusing on that. So that is very, very important. So for Panas, again, I thank on behalf of ThinkEgg as well as CLI for his contribution to draw in creating even R&D trials, okay, taking up even R&D trials as well as even commercial pilots also. So that is also very important. Ultimately, end of the day, training again is very important. How to use and how to get the benefit actually. So that is very important. So next innovator is Dr. Raja Raman, CEO and board member of Daksha Unmanned Systems. So here, certainly appreciable achievement is petrol engine based agri drones. So that is very important. We need to see, maybe we should have maybe both also, battery backup as well as petrol engine based. So again, based on the accessibility, then ease of use, and again cost benefit. These are very important. Maybe it may be too early to maybe compare maybe battery backup drones versus maybe petrol engine. So how it works and whether it reaches the target as per the general specifications prescribed to use the drone technology. So that is very important. So certainly it is a great achievement and a great focus by Daksha Unmanned Systems. So again, we thank Dr. Raja Raman on behalf of ThinkEgg as well as even CLI for their wonderful and contributions for drone application. So next innovator is Mr. Prayas Saxena. Skyline Drone Tech is the founder and CEO. So here they are into service because that is very important. End of the day, manufacturing, okay, then service, okay, to get benefit from the end user. So that is important. Since they are into service center and providing in one training center, that is very important. So by looking all the innovators who are presented here today, so we can find out all the solutions from these innovators. So end of the day, I'm sure a farmer will get total benefit of drone application. So thanks to Mr. Prayas Saxena for focusing service activity and followed by training. So we thank on behalf of again ThinkEgg as well as CLI. The next is Mr. Saurabh. So they are doing a wonderful work and they are the pioneers in, I can say, in terms of manufacturing and even offering even distribution, and they have a very good network in India, and we have seen very good performance in the field, and farmers are eagerly waiting the drones to use at their field actually. So thanks to again Mr. Saurabh for Ivotech World Aviation. So we thank on behalf of ThinkEgg as well as CLI. So certainly they are doing a wonderful job, and they are very confident and make it very user friendly, I think, to the farming community. So lastly, I'm happy to express a word of thanks to Mr. Hemendra Mathur as well as Mr. Asitava Sen, CEO of CLI. Because of their efforts only, it can happen today, whatever you made presentations. So thanks to both, because of them and because of their team actually. Because it is not easy to arrange this type of webinars by coordinating with various stakeholders. Is not easy actually. So I am highly thankful to Mr. Hemendra Mathur as well as Mr. Asitava Sen. I know how Mr. Asitava Sen is working last 2 years in coordination with all our industry colleagues. Okay, starting from even designing even protocols or guidelines by involving all the important stakeholders from even from Crop Life Asia team also supported. So thereby today, we are in a very, very comfort zone in terms of SOPs, protocols, and even manufacturers, even service providers and farmers also witnessed the benefit of drone, because already hype is created about the drone use and its benefit actually. So I thank both the executives of ThinkAg as well as CLI to make this webinar a grand success. Lastly, I thank all the participants, because participants are very important. So I thank all the participants for attending this webinar. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much once again, particularly the other people who were closely involved in making this happen. Congratulations to our partner, ThinkAg, and a very active participation. I can see people from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and many other countries also. So India is, I think, in the front here. We have taken a leap in this technology, and many other Asian countries have a lot of things to learn from our experience. So again, thanks a lot and all the best to all of you. Bye.
Thank you.